let's go ahead and get started. I've got three items on my list rather than the one that I promised you when I originally set up this meeting. And I think we'll have plenty of time if we want to do any Q&A. So the first topic is how to enter call signs for stations that are engaged in a reciprocal agreement in foreign countries. And specifically, a good example was the confusion when JR went down in the Caribbean and several of our NCSs didn't know what to do. I would say probably about 15 years ago, the club adopted not a policy, but an agreement that call signs that are entered in the call sign column of the logging software would be true call signs without any modifiers. And we wouldn't add M or P, or in the case of a reciprocal, a prefix, or in the case of Canada, a suffix to it. And what we really need to do is we need to continue to focus on that and make sure that when somebody is in that situation, that their true call sign is there in the call sign field, and there's some indication in remarks of what country they're in. It can either be the prefix, like VE3 or FS or whatever it is, but in the comments, the station should be marked DX. Anything other than the 50 states should be marked DX. So, for example, when Puerto Rico checks in, Puerto Rico is checking the DX station, not a PR station. If you're so inclined, you can also update the country field. But as long as we can get the information into a common place where the stations are working with each other, know where they are, then they can kind of sort out how they go do their QSLs. Is that clear? And any comments? I mean, how you do QSL cards and all that, not even part of this. It's really trying to maintain that list. And there is a downside, and the downside was proved by JR because if all you're using is call sign and state and date and time, or I'm sorry, call sign, mobile, state, band, and mode, then in his case, you probably will end up with showing him has already worked after you worked him the first time. So on line one, if you worked him, then perhaps line two of his state line would be read. So anyway, any comments?
Hey,
Jeff.
So we don't need to change. It's not expected that we change the country column.
I'm sorry?
It's not expected that we change the country column.
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, the problem is, Jeff, is that, and I'm probably guilty of this too. There are 350 entities in this world, and I think I only probably know how to spell a handful of them correctly. It's the same. It's the same thing for national parks. We try our best to get the national park name in, but sometimes we just don't get it spelled right. If you want to do it, and it would be an asset. But what I'm saying is that let's get it into the remarks field, and let's just kind of standardize that so that our members and people know that here we've got a U.S. station in a DX situation, and this is what its country is.
Hey, Dean.
Yes, go ahead, David.
Just to be clear, when you talk about putting in the state two-letter, that goes for provinces in Canada too, right?
Canada requires the operator to append to the behind the call sign the province, like VE3, VE4, etc., not Canada. So
right, but for instance, I'm talking about for Craig VE3CMD, we put Ontario for his quote unquote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Yeah, the 13. Okay, the 13 provinces. So it's the 50 states, the 13 provinces are what we accept in the state code plus DX. So yes.
Okay.
right. And while you're at it, you get that and just flip over and log the contact for Debbie and Dave. Any questions before we go on? Good. Did everybody get a chance to read my email last night about the special event status that we're going to do for almost 2 weeks during the eyeball? Yes. It is going to put a stress on some of our NCSs. I think we've covered that situation. At least I'm working really hard to make sure that as the eyeball wraps up, that as we begin to disperse, that we've got good NCSs for those few days after the eyeball, because the expectation on Monday night, early net, is that there will be 8 masters occupying 96 lines on the check-in list, because they'll be on the 4 corners and each of them will have 3 call signs. Plus, there's a really good chance that we'll have a combo on a tri-point or a tri-point. Isn't that right, David? You'll be on a tri-point, right? And there's another 18 lines. So pretty much figure that the first 120 lines of the check-in list will be occupied by 10 people. So just keep that in mind. It is a modified rodeo, and basically we'll make sure that people understand that it's 30 seconds. We will let people finish their call. We're not going to cut them off if they're in the middle of the call. So, for example, and I will deny that I ever said this, if Mark participates and it takes him 5 minutes to get that call made, we'll give him that time to do it. But once that's over with, we'll stop them and we'll go to the next person. So, and a lot of our people know how to do rodeos. I mean, rodeo isn't a new concept to the club. The big reason that it got sort of going is that we're going to have, like I said, we're going to have this activity on the 4 corners. We're going to have several groups of people that are going to stay together for a few days. And this just basically gives everybody a good opportunity, including the people that are at the location. So, for example, the 8 masters that are at 4 corners, it gives them an opportunity to bang, 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 work many of the masters as they can, and then the people that aren't there, same situation, rather than trying to dredge through it. So, and I think the rodeo puts the emphasis on the operator to have a plan and quickly do it. Bang, bang, bang. Just like we do it, like during the eyeball net. So were there any questions?
Dean?
Yes.
I'm not an NCS on that night for anything. However, I've blocked it off on my calendar because my location probably makes me a good relay. So I will make sure that I'm on that net and can help whatever.
It's for almost 2 weeks that we're doing that.
I know, but you're especially the one the one when you're all at the 4 corners, which I think is the 15th. But I will, and I can make sure, I'm going to the eyeball, but that Sunday I'll be back home. I probably can't operate that, but I can be available if you're short NCSs. In that time, I can probably do something that I don't normally do. So as long as I schedule it in advance.
Well, here's what I've got, and it's not very good, but I did a rough thing.
But I think what I'm saying, I'm here to help you, Warren, on the one.
Well,
or Virgil.
I think Gary.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, so
have you ever thought of changing your name for me?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever thought of changing your name for me?
Why?
So here's what I have. I've got for the bulk of that 2-week period of time, I have Virgil, LPZ, JCS, Carrie, K0Y, Lisa, are the 5 people that are the the main hitter or the main NCSs during that 2 weeks. Gary's coming back. He'll be back Monday night, and he'll be able to pick up some of the stuff the week after. But we're extremely shorthanded. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of our NCS is going to be at the eyeball, and it really takes away from doing things. But I think if we kind of pull together, and I'm going to be reaching out, I'm still trying to get the calendar put together. And if you look at the calendar right now, and I encourage all of you that aren't going to eyeball, look at it, let me know. But I have opened up all of the nets for those people that are going to the eyeball. So, for example, if you look at the calendar for Tuesday night, for example, the 40-meter lake net is open because that was the net that Gary normally runs. So they're all opened up, and those are the nets that I'm looking to fill the holes with. So I will try to do more. And I'm afraid that poor Virgil, by the end of that 2-week period of time, he's going to be done with the club. Isn't that correct, Virgil?
The four corners is just for Monday night on the 18th only, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Just one night.
One night, and you know, it could go fast. I mean, it could be even though there could be a gazillion check-ins on it. I mean, really think about it. We have we have members that know how to operate and do things, and I think that it could go very quickly. But we're gonna run that net until we saturate it, and then we'll move on to the next step that night. Because the folks at the Four Corners, you know, myself included, we're going to stay there until the end. We all need mobile and portable contacts on the Four Corners, and we all need 40 and 75. And I'm thinking, and I'd like your opinion, but I'm thinking that perhaps we move the 75 net to 0300 just for that Monday night. And if we have to forfeit the 40-meter lake net, I guess we could. But again, I'm looking for feedback here rather than trying just to arbitrarily make decisions.
Is somebody scheduled for the 75 early?
I do not. That's why I say the calendar. We can look at the calendar. But who normally runs that Monday night net? Absolute net, I guess is what I'm saying.
I usually run the Monday night 40 late. So if you're going to move to 75,
Kirk usually runs that net.
75.
I'm headed to the calendar real quick. So
Gary, you'll be home for the 40 early, correct?
Correct. And Virgil, if you're going to be around, I'd probably like to have you as a relay because I'm not sure on the 40 early how well we're going to hear them on
Right.
Four Corners. So
Well,
I think you're usually able to hear them out there. So I was actually going to give you a call, but since we're on this call, I just thought I'd mention it to you.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
Gary, and I've made sure I'm going to be on it, and I should be able to hear him a couple hundred miles west of Virgil.
Okay. All right.
The question I have would be in the rodeo format, you're really not going to be confirming anything. You're just going to move on to the next operator, correct? It won't be a bunch of confirmations when they run through 5, 6, 7 calls and we go the next. Some of them may get confirmed, and it's going to be more of a gentleman's agreement, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And you know, if it's a call on Gary's part, whether he wants to confirm it or not. I mean, and the other thing too that I noted also is that we're not going to do wake ups, and we're not going to do relays during the call. I mean, if the station calls the station and doesn't hear him, it'll be his responsibility to either keep calling him or go to the next one he wants to call during that 30-second. But that's going to keep things moving. And wake ups, no. If you call him twice, he's not there, you move to the next line. It's just,
Well, that's what I'm saying, going back to Gary's point, because Four Corners may be hard to see, even though Joe may be able to hear some of them. If we can't hear them, we're not going to be able to confirm. So basically, it's just a timing effort. 30 seconds, you move on to the next operator. And at that point, all the calls become pretty much a gentleman's agreement between whoever they call.
who's run a 40 early net rodeo style? Can you answer Virgil's question, Gary?
Well,
I've never
so usually when we do these radios, they're more about fun, and people are contacting people, as many as they can, even people that they've contacted before. So this is a little bit different. But here's what I would say. I would say that if you hear something that is not correct, either as a relay or an NCS, then you go ask them to go back and reconfirm that. That's what I would say. But to the extent that, to your point, Virgil, we might not be able to hear them, and it appears as though they were good contacts and nobody else has a problem. I think we just move on with them.
Yeah.
But I think if you clearly hear something that's not right, we should try to correct that.
But we're going to take up net time if we start doing that with all of those calls.
Yeah, we are, and I think though I'm a little concerned, Virgil, if we don't do it,
Okay.
clearly do it, it'll get out of hand. You know what I mean? But I don't expect us to do a lot, and most people are pretty good about making sure that they get the signal reports right. So.
Well, my thought would be they would go through, they'd go through their pile, and we would be able to hear if they got both sides of it or not.
Yeah.
And at the end of when they're done with their pile, we can either go back and say, hey, what did you get from so-and-so? Or everything was valid, but this contact, and move on. I mean, I think that's where our option is.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, we've done rodeos before. Do I think that we're going to have an unusual high number of real stations on that list? I just don't know. I mean, we're publicizing it and we're announcing it, and I think we're going to attract a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't. But the request, as we noodled around this, we said that, I mean, the people that go in the Four Corners, they've got interest because they're looking for their 5 contacts and everything else, but they're also looking to work, other stations in that similar situation. Like myself, I've worked Arizona, Utah, and Colorado before, but I haven't worked them in all modes and everything else. So
yeah, so not lines. Lines are different. Okay, Dean talked about lines, but those, I don't know how many lines he talked about, are really only 8 stations. So, but I think if we may have 150, 175 lines, but I think reality is between the extra mobiles we're going to probably have out there, and people that will check into the net just because there's a lot of good activity, good opportunity. You probably have between 90 and 100 stations, I'm going to guess. That's kind of stuff that we've seen on other eyeball opportunities, eyeball weeks. I think the biggest one we ever had was 109, but stations, not lines, but stations. Be a lot more lines than that.
And the other problem that we have is coordinating the 40 and 75, because we're the geniuses of this are going to figure out how to preload NetLogger with those stations that are there, the masters and Dave and Debbie, so that when they start a net, you're not grueling through that. What's your call sign? What's this? What's that kind of a thing? Also, Dave and Debbie are producing a list of stations at the eyeball along with their club and special events, and they'll make that available also. And we'll get that posted on the Reflector as well. Probably sometime Sunday or Monday. so that there's that checklist kind of thing. So hold on a second. Hello? Yes.
Gary?
Go to the meeting.
Yes.
I'm in the meeting, yeah, if I can.
Was that Virgil?
Yeah. Will you be running? These are supposed to start on the 11th. Will you be running that Monday night on the 11th?
I will not. I will be on the road. I'm leaving on either Saturday or Sunday. So that's an open net right now.
Right. That'll actually be the first rodeo net. I think Dean said 11th through
Correct.
the.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That would be correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't taken the 11th. The 11th would be the 12th. Correct. You're on the wrong day, right? And I've got I think I talked to Debbie, and I think they're going to be home that night. They leave the following day. Did I get that right, Debbie?
Yeah, we don't leave till Wednesday local, so I'll be doing my Tuesday local net. And then I said that I would cover was it the Wednesday 75? No, I'm sorry. The Monday, one of those you plugged me into.
Right. The thought is, and I haven't done it yet, again, I'm looking for feedback, is that we open up 75 late for that same period of time.
Okay. Hey, just to clarify, Dean, you're talking about adding the 75 late. There's some misunderstanding. I think Debbie thought that you were going to have the 75 late in lieu of the 40 late.
Well, I'm just saying is that we started at 0000, and we're trying to cram into 4 hours 4 nets. Did I get that right? We have one start with the 40 early starts at 000, and then the 75 is what, 0200,
Right.
and then the 40 is 0400, and then we have the late is 0500.
Right. I guess the concern is if we're not able, if some people on the East Coast can't hear the Four Corners on the 40 early net, then they don't have an opportunity to do the 40 late net, right?
Right. Well, that's what I say is I think we're gonna have to figure that one out. And
Well,
I personally think that Gary can get through the early net in probably 2.5 hours. I think he's done it before, and I think his nets run quickly. And if like I said, if we organize it up front so that the check-in lists are preloaded, and we're not spending time trying to copy club stations and everything else, I think it will move quickly, and I think we'll get a quick start on it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, but I think that's.
No, I think so. I think so too. I mean, I'll know everybody who's going to be on there. I'll already have them loaded, so I don't have to type them in. I can just hear the call sign, and it's already in NetLogger. And I mean, I did that last year at the Eyeball on Saturday night because it was kind of mayhem there too. So
I'm going to do that Friday night on my net at the Eyeball as well. I'll preload the station the best I can. I will figure out ahead of time who's going to be on the net so that I can just get them preloaded, and because we want to get this thing rolling, and we waste a lot of time trying to do check-in. So I guess I didn't answer Virgil's question. My concern was, Virgil, is that we're trying to do 3 nets in 3 hours. Is that right? No.
Well,
4 hours. Right.
But to Dave's point, going back to the 40 late, if you're going to move the 75 by 1 hour forward,
Yeah.
and make it 03, why not just make the 40 so the folks on the East Coast have a chance to work 40 on the 40 late and move it an hour forward too? That way you're still getting the 240s in there, and 75 early is important to a lot of folks. And if you move that forward, that'll cut out the 40 late, but go ahead and slide the 40 late an hour. I don't think it'll matter for that week or two, will it?
You know, if we slide everything, if we slide those 3 nets up an hour, or at least those 3 nets up an hour, I think that the propagation could be slightly better.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't think you'd hear the Four Corners on 75 at 0200 yet.
are you talking about anywhere or?
You know, based on when JR was there a week ago, and I feel like it's either me or ODI with his huge station in Nevada. We aren't getting much west of here at all on the 75 nets.
Right.
And I'm not sure if you don't push it out, you won't. I mean, you guys will get to talk amongst yourselves, but I'm not, you know, that's just my opinion from being here, what I'm hearing.
So we're saying that on
Gary may have a different opinion though.
No, I agree. 75 early has been really short. I mean, it's hard from here for me to hear even anybody I usually hear Minnesota and Missouri, but that's about it. I'm not going to hear anything west of that.
I think having all 4 nets is just crucial because, you know, everybody's going to be in a different situation. Let's just take that Monday, you know, we need to be able to make our contacts for Clint Wise, you know, enough contacts for that. And then you've got everybody out at the Four Corners that does. So if you run the 40 early and you're trying to keep it in a time frame, you know that if certain people have enough contacts, they're going to move to the 75, and maybe they're able to make one on the 75 early, and then everybody's going to move on to the 40 late. And even though that may only run an hour, those that want to stay longer on 40 late that don't need 75 might stay there, but then you've got the 75 late for those that need to move there. And I think that it just having all 4 nets run, whether they're whatever times you want to do them, but then the people that are out there can move to whatever net, you know, based on their needs. And that also allows for both East and West Coast people to be able to make those contacts that they're looking for. So I don't think we should get rid of anyone in particular. I think we should somehow try to run all 4, and you know, the stations that are out there are going to move to whatever, you know, they need for their you know, because you know, basically beyond making 5 contacts, you know, everything that Dave and I do is for the other members of the club. It's not for us. We only need 5 contacts for what we're working on. We're there to give out the contacts. So,
And just FYI, when we were at Four Corners, I logged 19 contacts on the 75 early net. So it may not be as difficult as what you
that
might
was
think.
a couple years ago, though.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So how about if we do this? How about if we go ahead and move up the 3 nets by an hour? So we'll start 75 early at 0300, 40 late at 500, and 75 late at 600. Okay. And then
While you're thinking of that, do we want to actually move 40 early and start it a half hour or an hour early?
You mean later?
I've got no input on that.
I mean, because that's probably going to be our busiest net is the 40 early. And if that's going to be the busiest one, do we give ourselves a half hour by starting it a half hour early, or an hour by starting it early?
The only caveat to that is that you've got to make a lot of these people available in the 40 late, because there is a divide there's a divide, and on the West Coast is really going to struggle. You know, we start earlier, so it will be imperative that we have a late.
No, I'm saying do both. Move all the other ones out.
Oh no,
But do we start 40?
Yeah, right.
So
I'm not trying to change that. I'm just thinking give yourself some breathing room on 40.
Yeah, so I don't think you monkey with 40 meters or early. I think you leave it at um what is it, 0 100 hours Zulu. I think you leave it at that for a couple of reasons. First off, when you start changing all these times, people get confused, and nothing slows the net down more than a bunch of people checking in after the net starts. And so, I think we leave it where it is. And the other reason is for propagation. We don't want to start it any earlier than 7. You have already got a propagation challenge starting at 7 if you're west. So I think we leave that alone, and I think it's okay to move the other ones back an hour. The only thing that worries me is the 75-meter late net, at least on the East Coast. That's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning when it starts. So,
So what I will do also, Gary, is I will put an announcement in the announcement thing for that day that you can announce that these today's nets are being, or the other nets are going to be moved up an hour. And then I would also request that you also, it'll be real short. You read that at halftime or, in between rounds so that we get the word out to people. Because a lot of those people are going to come to the other nets as well. And
yeah.
So we'll do an announcement. We'll do an announcement too to let people know.
So I've heard people say move them up, but we're really moving them back an hour, right? Right. We're not moving them up.
Doing them later.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Sorry, later. Okay, later.
This isn't the only time in my life I've had this where people say move them up, but they're really moving, in my opinion, moving them back, but they think they're moving them up. So later, Debbie, is the right word to use.
Yeah. Do you
Move them an hour later.
Do you think it's going to pose a problem finding an NCS for 75 late at that late?
Well, I'll tell you, you're not going to like what my solution is, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. My solution is I've got 2 really, really good NCSs at night, and I was going to ask Gary to run both the 40 early and the 40 late, and I was going to ask Virgil to run the 75 early and the 75 late, unless we can get somebody else. But that's
and are we doing this for the full 2 weeks, or are we?
No. We're right now. We're just trying to coordinate that one night on 4-4.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Just one night, right?
Yeah, I think for one night somebody will tough it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were saying for like a week or 2 weeks. I'm like, well,
No.
Okay.
The 75 early and 75 late on the 18th is fine with me unless somebody else wants to take it.
That's great.
I'm probably not going to get any volunteers, right?
Virgil's famous words.
Yeah, I have a suggestion on those 75 early and late, and then the 40 late is. I know we usually start at 15 minutes before the top of the hour, but maybe we want to start 30 minutes for check-ins.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's a good idea, Matt. And not only did you get the check-ins in, but the other thing is, it secures the frequency earlier. I've had situations where I thought the frequency was clear, and by the time we got around to 15 minutes before or so, somebody had jumped in on a frequency. So I think it helps us secure whatever frequency we're going to use earlier and give us more time to get stuff in.
I still need to go through the schedule and figure out of the 7 people that are attending the eyeball that are NCS stations when they're returning home, because they could help pick up that second week, like Gary's doing. So, and it's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be fun, and I think we'll look back on it and say, yeah, this was really a lot of fun. Let's not do it again. Okay.
Question here. Has anyone got an easy way to handle the mechanics of that 30-second timer? Some kind of way that you can, as an NCS, you can start a timer?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
Gary, you have that.
Dan, call me, and I'll.
So there's a timer I use, and there's a rodeo timer in Dean's Logger. It's geared for 60 seconds, but you can do 30 seconds on it as well. So there's that in CC Logger, and then there's a timer I use for my call sign, and I'll just put two of these up, so I don't forget to give my call sign every 10 minutes. I have a timer set for 8 minutes, but it's just a little timer. It's a little box about 2 inches square, and the program's called Snap Timer, and it's free. I mean, I downloaded this years ago, but Snap
That's a
Timer.
good one. Lisa had a good one too. That works too, huh, Lisa?
Would you
Yeah, I
have
have
Lisa?
old school
There we go.
egg
There you
timer.
There you go.
I think I have one for 30 seconds too.
Egg timer. Egg timer.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I will continue working, like I said, trying to fill these vacancies. If any of you could look at the calendar and figure out what your own schedule is and let me know what you'd like to fill in or how you can fill in, it'd be appreciated. Still haven't completely made a decision on running the 40 late or 75 late. Again, it requires more bodies. But I'm open. You know, we're doing this as special nets, and we can juggle. Let's see. Currently the way it stands right now is that we are only going to run 2 nets from the eyeball, and that'll be on Friday night and Saturday night. It'll be the 40 early net. We will be on other nets, but we're only going to NCS those 2 nets during the eyeball, and perhaps maybe somebody at the eyeball wants to pick up Thursday. I haven't really thought about Thursday, but what's that?
They'll only be the 40. They'll only be the 40-meter earlies.
The 2 nets that we're going to run are 40-meter early, but like I said, if let me talk to Clay. Like if somebody wanted to pick up the problem with 75 late is it's really too late for eyeball attendees because activities start up 6 hours later or 5 hours later, and so it gets to be no sleep and a lot of activity. So
Well, and I don't know if we have any limits this year, Dean, but in the past we've had limits on how late we could stay in those
that's what I was talking about.
facilities. We had to get out.
Right.
So,
I will ask around and see if anybody at the eyeball wants to run 40 early on Thursday. Perhaps somebody, instead of doing 40 early, we could do 75 early from the eyeball side on Thursday. I think that we could only run one QRO station at a time. So that's kind of why we selected it. So everybody pretty much going to be leaving Sunday, so we won't be doing any more nets that night. So we really have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'll try to put out a thing and see if anybody would like to run a net from the eyeball on Thursday night, and we surely can do it. And I can attempt to open up 75 for that week as well. Make them open, and again, the problem we've got is that I've only got 5 regular NCSs that are not going to the eyeball to fill in that, and it puts an awful lot of load on their schedules to try to get it picked up. I mean, I'm running a net the night before I leave. I think I'm running for one. That's for Gary, right? I'm running Gary's net my night.
yeah, the 40-meter late net.
Or
Yeah.
late net, right. But I'm not running my net on Wednesday night because I'm going to be, in flight, so to speak. So anyway, you all had the kind of the outline, and I will noodle around some more, and I'll try to get it published over the weekend to the reflectors and let people know. I will probably hint that we may have 75 late open, and to check, for people to check the calendars or check the net schedule. So Okay. The last item is just a reminder. I don't want any. I'm not open to comments or anything else, but I just like to remind everybody that as you are sitting in the chair, assisting, running nets or otherwise in some kind of capacity, it is very, very important that you provide accurate information if you're communicating on AIM. That's all I can say. It's accurate, information that is consistent with the club and its goals. So, and I think it's really important. And we have members that are experts, and we can't control them, and we see it all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody trying to give a new guy advice on how to do 100-point that was wrong. And the other thing is that I would really discourage trying to get into a confrontation with somebody over that. You see something like that, write call signs down, and then afterwards communicate by email and try to clear up. So, okay. Anything else that we want to talk about today? Like I said, I only had these 3 topics, and again, the regional meeting was for the DX stuff, and then of course the eyeball is. And, I think August is going to be fun. So, nothing else. Okay, folks. I think we will conclude.